Alright, good afternoon YouTube. Been a while since we put any footage of any Mustangs period on my channel, so kind of owe you an update on that. And right now, again, I'm Nigel, in case there was ever discrepancy. Fish is in the blue Mustang. Get to that in a while. So I have not done any runs in this car since that last video at the track against the blue 6th gen Camaro. If you pay attention to how I launched, I was at 5,000 at the launch, and I was foot to the floor on the gas trying to slip the clutch before I even passed the tree. It just wasn't allowing me to do that. It wouldn't slip it anymore. Then again, with fishes, they were allowing it to smoke the clutch, which I don't really feel so good about that, considering I have to drive it every day. But it wasn't allowing me to really slip it and avoid bogging like I needed to get the 60 foot down to make any improvement. I was basically proving that this is like a 12.8 car at best, and that's like a high 12.8, and then 13 flats whenever it's having a real bad day, like I guess heat soak, and then you lose some mile an hour. Because I had a peak of, I think, 114.3 or 5 at its best, and then I think the worst I've seen this car do is like 110 flat for the final trap. So here's where I've done. I'm currently now on a 285 square setup on coilovers, so that should manage any wheel hop for the most part, at least better than stock. Sure, I don't have any K braces and such for in the back to eliminate any better, but here's the big ticket item. If you haven't already noticed, I went ahead and put in a Tremec Magnum XL with the 297 first gear, and then a DSS drive shaft that's one piece, and then G-Force Renegade axles. On top of that, you have the McLeod RST twin disc organic clutch and the McLeod's light and steel flywheel. Why did I not change the rear diff though? Well, and the greatest of schemes, if I can, I would like to go boosted by next spring to early summer, if all possible. If I went boosted, going to a shorter gear ratio like a 373 or a 410, not ideal. I would be running into just wheel spin and first and second gear all the damn time. I wouldn't be able to get anywhere. So we went ahead and stuck with the 355s, as recommended by HBJ Performance, Belleville, Illinois. They're the ones that hooked me up with this swap. And as part of that, it also came with a 93 octane tune from Lynn Racing to get the gear ratios and the computer talking, because it's just slight changes. It's like first and second are taller, third shorter, fourth's the same as 1-to-1, and then I think fifth and sixth are also taller. So I just finished doing 500 braking miles. I thought I'd take you on a drive for the full experience of what it's like to get a Magnum XL swap in your 18 Mustang. Big thing you notice, there's only lockout is pressing your foot on the brake. You don't pick up a lever, you don't push it down like in the Camaro 6 gens. You simply press the brake and it goes over. The scary thing about that is if anyone cuts you off on the highway and you go for a quick 6 to 5, you find out that you can easily hit the brake while going to fifth and accidentally go into reverse. So you gotta be a little mindful of that. Other things, the coilovers I had, the Petters Extreme, well, they had ride to height adjustable jam nuts on the strut bodies, and those jam nuts no longer clear the axles. So now already, here I'll hit them up on purpose. So you hear the chattering in the back, and that's because there's no jam nut holding the upper and lower half of the rear shocks in place, locked together. So I'm looking into some replacement shocks that are not adjustable in ride height, but they're meant for a drop of 1 to 2 inches where I'm at, and then I don't have to have the chatter. So I'll have like Petters Extreme for every other component of the suspension except for the shock in the rear. Other details. Well, I haven't actually been able to play too much with a fast shift and a high RPM with this transmission, just because I've just finished breaking in it last night. I did a 200-mile drive with some back roads. And I'm a little hesitant about doing a hard launch just yet. We have a heat index of 105 today. That's why you're going to have to listen to the AC blowing. It is hot. But I would like to just give you a little ride along of drive with this transmission, and in a while I'll probably post another video of my impressions, say with 10,000 miles and then 20,000 miles. Is it still holding its name? Because my biggest concern is I'll put some videos up along inside of this video of my 6th gen Camaro when I did a trip to Mexico way back in the day, and I've had a few instances of third gear starting to give me trouble after it had been beaten on for so long.
Missed it.
Fuck.
What gear did you miss?
Third.
Damn it, Alec.
Didn't go all the way in. So it had its faults. Maybe that's because it wasn't a direct shifter. It was mounted to the body, whereas this is straight to the transmission. There's nothing in between. So you get everything. You feel every little vibration that the transmission has. So maybe that's the big ticket that you had to have, or maybe it's because I have this nice McLeod twin disc clutch, where everything's ready for 700 foot-pound if you don't know these components very well. So they're ready for the whip of life as soon as I have the cash. Alright, so see if I can give you a good pull jumping on the highway real quick. So here's first. So you hear all that extra vibration thanks to the transmission being basically solid. There's no two-piece drive shaft to absorb vibrations, nothing. Granted, I'm not the strongest fellow in the world, so I'm not going to be able to really slam gears like I need to in this car. So I can really feel that synchro wall whenever I'm trying to shift between gears at that RPM, but at least it's doing it, even in this heat. Again, it's 105 index, so yeah, I just turned on the car, but I've got the AC full blast, and even at all the way at red line, went right in. That MT82 would not do that. I mean, it did for like the first 500 miles after break-in, like 500 to 1,000 mile mark. Yeah, then it would do it. After that, though, it was steadily downhill. When I was just before the swap, we were doing some back roading, and every time I would try to shift from first to second, even slowly, over, say, 7,000 RPM, it would be a complete wall. It would say no. I just have to say, all right, go to third, whatever. So I got pretty fed up with it, honestly. So I went ahead and, since I've been actually working this whole time for COVID, I took advantage of that, put my pennies together, and I jumped onto the Tremec Swap Life. And I'm going to find out for myself, is it just another Tremec 6060 with a different bell housing? Or is the direct mount shifter such a game changer that this is the absolute holy grail for any 18 Mustang newer that has the manual life? Autos, you're on your own world. I just don't do that life. I just can't. I drive to work every day by myself, and I just lose my mind if I was just going every day. Can't do that. So here I am, trying to make the Tremec life work, because I love everything else about this car, I'm going to be honest with you. Because in the Camaro, you couldn't fit a cooler in the trunk, so it was almost impossible to do any like camping, fishing trips, or whatever else I was doing. Even airsoft, trying to load gear in the back was a pain. Whereas with this, it is an awesome road trip car. And I'll find out if the coilovers kind of ruined that as far as driving down to Florida when I randomly do that. Because, if you hit a bacon road and it just bounces on you real bad, that's to be seen. Maybe I'll be hating myself at that point. But everything else about the car, I mean, I've got a whole new sound system in the car and don't have any rattles. All I had to do was put some sound deadening tape to lock down a couple tabs right behind the door handles on each side. That one bolt mat, that one 10mm bolt, has a metal tab against the door that would buzz once I added the subwoofer. But once I put that sound deadening tape on there, that was the only component. Because in the Mustang, the speakers are actually screwed down. If you didn't know, the 6th gen Camaros, they're held in by plastic tabs that just fit in a slot. No screws whatsoever. They just kind of put them in place and then they'll literally rattle in place. I didn't feel like trying to drill through the body and hope I didn't hit a wire that I couldn't see, all that. I just didn't want to take that risk. I didn't like that you couldn't fit anything in the trunk. And the third gear was starting to give me trouble, so that's when I went to a 17 F-150 where I've only posted one video where I did some off-road stuff. I only had that truck a year, and then all my family started getting back into, you know, pony cars, and I fell for it, went ahead and bought a 18 Mustang, get back into it. Loving it ever since. Can't go back to truck life, I just can't. Again, it's that automatic, just humdrumming on your way to work that's just really gets to you. So I'm back in this, and I'll try to give as many updates I can as what I run into with doing this swap, because I'm sure everyone's curious, is this a good idea? See, I didn't hit the brake for going to 5th. I know that now. But I want everyone that has ever been curious about whether this is the Holy Grail before they jump in, because, spoiler alert, this is a $10,000 setup, alright? This is not cheap by whatsoever. Like, the transmission sure is only like $3,500, right? But then you have to remember every other component you have to change. Harnesses, clutches, all the drive shafts, because you can't keep your stock drive shaft. You can keep the stock half shafts, but I've seen those snap on a stock Mustang that just had tires. So why take the risk? Went ahead, went to the Renegade axles, not the Outlaws. So, yeah. After that, I'll let Fish give his update.